Hi everyone, I am Kira. I am a mom of an 18 months old baby girl who we have sleep trained since she was 1 year old. So if you're interested to know how we do it, what method we use, please keep watching. Before we begin, I would like to put on a disclaimer that this method is what works for me and my family. I am not a pediatrician, I am not a sleep training expert whatsoever, and this method is what have been working. So with that being said, please check with your pediatrician whether or not your baby is ready and okay to undergo with the formal sleep training. Please do not take this as me pleading to all of you that you should sleep train your baby. We do this because co-sleeping or room sharing does not work for us anymore. So if co-sleeping works for you, then by all means do you. But if you're like me and you feel that you need the huge chunk of sleep and same goes to your baby, then maybe you can try these methods and see if it's working for you and your baby. Babies, toddlers, and kids who have better sleep schedule tend to perform better in academics and in life in general. I believe it also applies to us. That sleep is so important. This has also been affirmed by my child neurologist pediatrician, where she says that most of the brain development happened when the babies are sleeping. Number one, having or practicing a good bedtime routine or a nap time routine. Why is this important? Because to let their little brains know that it is almost time for them to sleep. Just imagine that your toddler or your baby has been playing all day or throwing tantrum all day, and they have been so restless and not ready to just shut their body down. So having a good bedtime routine would help their brains to understand that after this, I need to slow down because I would need to sleep. What works for us when our baby was a newborn is that we would give her a warm bath, and then we would massage her, we would dim the light and read to her, and then I will nurse her, and then she will go to sleep. But now that she's a toddler, she's 18 months old now, her routine has changed up a little bit because she has to eat dinner. So the routine would start with her having dinner with us as a family, and then we would take her to shower, or we would all take her into her room where we will put on her pajama, read to her, and I will nurse her before she goes to sleep. Now this would sometimes change a little bit or would be stretch for a bit of a time when there were just nights when she just want to read over and over again. Like we have to go through 6 to 7 books in order for the routine to end, but I enjoy reading to her. So it depends to your family. Number 2 is establishing or having a safe sleep environment. I am an advocate of a safe sleep practice because my baby has fell off the bed 2 times when or I should say I took her out of her crib in our room and let her sleep with me in my bed. This one morning we were still sleeping and she just woke up and rolled over and eventually fell off the bed. Thank God that she's okay, but it gives me so much anxiety when she's co-sleeping with us because we do not know when she will just wake up like silently rolling off the bed and whatnot. So I am a huge believer of a safe sleep environment. If you do not know what safe sleep environment is, I will make a whole video on it very soon, but you can check out the AAP website and tick off the checklist whether or not your sleeping environment is a safe one for your little baby. Number 3 is the last nap of the day should not be too close to their bedtime. So the sweet spot for bedtime for our babies is actually around 8 to 9 p.m. and their last nap would depend on their age. Put on the table here to show you the last nap of the day should be around what time. For my baby who is now 18 months old, she should have around 5 to 6 hours from the last nap to her bedtime. So she should wake up around 3 p.m. during the day from her nap in order for her to sleep at 8 or around 9 p.m. at night. Now, if you let your baby sleep at 5 or 6 p.m. during the day, and they will wake up very fresh and they would not go to sleep, I think, until it reaches like 11 p.m. Number 4 is deciding on which method you want to use. If you Google sleep training method, there is a range and various method that you can use in order to sleep train your child. There is the hardest and the strictest method of cry it out, where you would leave your child crying it out throughout the night, when they would eventually figure it out on how to put themselves to sleep. There is also a verbal method, which I believe have been popularized or introduced by a pediatrician named Dr. Ferber. With this method, it is basically a modified cry it out method, whereby you would leave your child in the room, and if they cry for you, you would wait for 3 to 5 minutes, and then after 5 minutes you would pop in, check them and see if they're okay and whatnot, and then just leave them again, and then you would wait for another 5 minutes to go check in your baby and reassure them, and repeat this throughout the night. And there is also the most gentle sleep training, which I believe is a chair method, where you just wait on the chair in your child's room until they go to sleep. Now, for us, we decided to go on the middle ground, which is the verbal method, but it only lasted for 4 nights because she did not sleep at all. My husband and I are working, and we are working with our baby together with us, and she would fuss so much because she did not get a good sleep during the sleep training. So according to the rule, verbal method rule, if your child has stopped crying, you should just let them be in their crib for them to go to sleep. Our baby decided not to sleep, but just keep on holding the rail of the crib and sleep standing. It went on until 6 a.m. in the morning, where she's just too sleepy. During that time, we always go in and try to put her down for her to lay down. Nara is so reliant on me, in the sense that she needs to nurse in order for her to go to sleep. Now we change it up by replacing the nursing part to other things. So what we do in breaking her habits to have to nurse in order for her to go to sleep is that we replace that with another habit. Instead of nursing, I would pat her or massage her or scratch her back until she eventually doze off to sleep. Now this works until to a certain point where it would take so long for her to eventually to fall asleep, and I feel like it is not working for us. So my husband suggested just to leave her be for a while, and we decided to try. So what we did was that I would nurse her, we would do the whole bedtime routine as usual, but then I will kiss her and tell her that this is the time for you to sleep. You need to sleep. Mommy is going to see you from the monitor and you have to go to sleep. And then I would leave her room. It was so surprising that she eventually go to sleep. It would take around 5 minutes of fussing. She does not usually cry. She would just fuss and say, "Mommy, knock knock," saying that I should go knock on her door and get her. It would just go around 5 minutes, and then she just voluntarily sit down, lay down, and eventually fall asleep. And that was the best thing ever. For the whole time that we have started sleep training her in her own room, we have set up a camera whereby we would have a monitor to see her. So that's why we know when she's not asleep or what she was saying and calling me out and whatnot. And I think it would be reassuring for you to have some sort of monitor in your baby's room in order for you to know whether or not your baby is crying, and also for safety purposes because she is now on her own. Sometimes she would just need to listen to me, whereby I would talk to her using her monitor and she listened to me, and she would eventually lay down and just go to sleep. It was so sweet. Number 5 is feeding. Now this is the question that I get asked the most when we started to sleep train our baby, whether I have entirely dropped the night feeding, and the answer is no. When we started the verbal method and then eventually move to the petting her to sleep method, I would still go to her room every single night at 12 a.m. and 4 a.m. in the morning to dream feed her. Dream feed means that your baby would still be asleep. You would take her out of her crib, nurse her, and then put her back down. It would go on 5 to 10 minutes. And the reason why I do this is because I believe that it has been a year that she's so used to having the night feedings, and I'm scared that she would not get the calories that she needs. And also because I don't want it to affect my milk supply. So that is the gradual decrease from our 5 to 6 sessions every night. And then by time I start to decrease the session to only one session, maybe around 12 to 1 a.m. in the morning, where I would go into her room and dream feed her. And then I think around 1 month ago, I have entirely dropped her nighttime feeding, and it does not cause me that much pain and engorgement because I have gradually decreased my nursing sessions with her. Now we do not have any nighttime sessions at all, and she has slept throughout the night. I think around 8 to 9 p.m. until 7 to 8 or 8 to 9 a.m. the next morning. So in total, she would sleep around 10 to 12 hours every single night without nursing. I was a bit worried to drop her entire night feeding at first because I know that she hasn't been eating that much during the day. And I eventually stopped the night feeding. I realized that she ate more during the day. And maybe the reason why she has not been eating so much during the day is because she was still full or relies so much on the nighttime feeding instead of getting the calories during the day. So we would try to pack as much calories as possible during her breakfast, lunch, snack time, and dinner time for her to get enough calories during the day. And this has actually came out good because she has gained much more weight than before after she has started sleep training. Maybe because she has started to eat a lot instead of relying on just nursing throughout the night. Next, number 6 is to make your baby familiarize with their environment. Since we are going to put them to sleep in their own room, I believe most of us have been co-sleeping with our baby in our master bedroom. Then our baby would not be familiar enough with their room. What we did to familiarize our baby in her room is that before we officially and formally start her sleep training and let her sleep in her own room, we would actually spend, I think, 4 to 5 days prior in her room, playing with her, nursing her in her room, so that she'll know that this is the room, it is cozy, it is calming, and that she will not be afraid that you just left her in the dark in her own room. If your baby is using a pacifier, then you can also allow your baby to bring the pacifier into the crib. Now our baby is not using any pacifier, so what we did was that to let her have some lovey. Her uncle actually bought her a stuffed animal and she called it Bunny, and I would actually take Bunny together with us every time I nurse her so that she would associate Bunny with being calm and being with mommy. So during the whole sleep training nights, she would closely hold her Bunny because that would be her safety object together with her in the crib. Now, it would be nice if you have set up your baby's nursery, but it is not necessary to have this fancy nursery. Just put her crib, her nursing chair, and organize some of her toys and clothes, and that's about it. And it becomes her room. Also, an additional tip in order for your baby, and also you can use this tip as well, is that to use a sound machine. It actually mimics the noise or sound that they hear when they are in your womb. If you realize that during heavy rain, we tend to sleep more or fall into a deeper sleep. This is because the white noise sound actually drowns all of other noise in your household, and the constant white noise would actually make them very sleepy and drowsy. The next one is to let the nursery or the baby's room to be in pitch black. Try not to let any light sneaking in because babies would fall asleep easier when it's darker in their surrounding. The next one is to let your baby have their nap during the day. This may be in contrast or contrary to some belief that you may have heard from your parents or your grandparents. You would always hear them to say that let them tire themselves out during the day, which is true, but do not let them skip their naps, because naps are so important in order for them to thrive during the day and also to let them have a consolidated night sleep. I would put on here the recommended naps according to your baby's age. And so I believe that's all on how we have sleep trained our baby and how we have trained her to sleep in her own room. And if you have further questions on how we do it and whatnot, please drop in the comments down below, or you can DM me personally on my Instagram at Syakira Azam. If you feel like this video have helped you or give you some values in any way, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more on motherhood, home, career, and everything in between. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.